JOY.
You have the choice. Whether it's going out to dinner or ordering takeout at a local restaurant or buying that new outfit from a local boutique, those choices help to put money back into your community. Town Square Media South Jersey proudly puts a spotlight on local businesses.
Broadlee's, your trusted source for heating and plumbing service and installation for generations. Call 609-390-3907 or visit broadleys.net. Manhattan Bagel. Looking for a quick snack or a full meal? Easy to use menu, customize how you'd like, place your order and sit back. ManhattanBagel.com has you covered. Start fresh, fast, order online for pickup and delivery. And Kindle Auto Plaza, the area's best selection of Ford, Lincoln, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Wagoneer. Off exit 10 on the Parkway on Stone Harbor Boulevard. Call 609-465-5000 or KindleAutoplaza.com.
Thank you for supporting your local businesses from Town Square Media South Jersey.
Home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
They've got him. It's a sack.
Sixers.
Oh, baby.
And Flyers.
He scored!
97.3 ESPN. WENJ. WENJ HD. Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig.
It's good!
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
And he scored!
Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Josh Hennig.
After, frankly, the most embarrassing Eagles loss since 2020, we got to talk about it today on 97.3 ESPN. I want to hear from you guys out there at 609-403-0973, because I did hear from a few people during the course of my day yesterday, but I want to know, I mean, do any of you feel any differently as we are now, what is it, 26 hours removed from that embarrassing slop we saw yesterday? Frankly, it was so embarrassing that I got to be honest with you guys, I wasn't even sure what I watched yesterday. So I purposely went out of my way to rewatch it when we talk about it today here on 97.3 ESPN. Now, when I rewatched it and we talk about it, I am not going to let you know it was during halftime because, frankly, I could care less. As a side note, and we'll get into this a little bit later, I think the quality of the analysis on television was at an all-time low yesterday. And that's a conversation we can get into a little bit later in the hour. But for right now, Eagles, embarrassing loss yesterday. Give me your thoughts at 609-403-0973. Also, your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. So let's dig deeper into this, okay? After rewatching the game last night, it became brutally honest to me that, as to paraphrase what Jason Kelsey said, it was the whole team. And I know people are going to want to point to an individual because I understand that in a society where we have been programmed to want to blame a boogeyman, we all want to have a villain. We all want to have a centerpiece for our frustrations, right? You know, we have been told by movies and TV shows and by politics and by social media and every part of our society that there's always a bad guy, a villain, a devil, or whatever. This was a complete team failure. There were mental errors on multiple plays. I mean, they took advantage of Fred Johnson like he was the weakest link on that reality TV show. The Eagles never adjusted. There were no in-game adjustments at all yesterday. I don't know what Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio thought they were trying to do yesterday, but they completely failed at it. And the only reason why Vic Fangio doesn't deserve more blame is because he made kind of an adjustment over the course of the game. There was a point in the second quarter where the Eagles were outgained 250 to nothing halfway through the second quarter. And if you want to say, well, Vic Fangio only allowed 200 more yards the rest of the game, I guess you can give him a small golf clap for that. But it was utterly embarrassing to watch this Eagles team get absolutely punted into the ground like it was like some Street Fighter moment where I'm not sure, Mortal Kombat, where they say end him. And it was like the last two attempts of an offensive drive that Eagles had when Hurts got sacked. It was like the finish him move from Mortal Kombat. Like I could hear the music going off in the back of my head. So I guess, sure, if you want to give Vic Fangio credit that he allowed 0 touchdowns in the fourth quarter and only 10 points in the second half of a 33-16 loss, I guess you can give that to him. But I don't know what exactly happened from last week to this week. And if you want to tell me it's the heat down there, sure, I'm sure it's a factor. I was getting texts from people that I know at the game who were telling me, dude, this is brutally hot down here. This is the hottest game I've ever been to. Okay, great. And you heard Sal Palantonio tell Mike Gill earlier on the Sports Bash that he was on the sidelines doing his Sports Center hit, and he turned to Baker Mayfield to say hello. How's the heat out there? And he said it's nice and hot for them, talking about the Eagles. It was obvious that the Buccaneers had a better game plan than Vic Fangio. And I'm starting to ask questions like, do the Eagles have the right players to run Vic Fangio's defense? The Eagles only got 2 quarterback hits the entire game on a guy who had been sacked multiple times by the Denver Broncos. And anybody who saw any of the Jets-Broncos game yesterday, you know the Broncos defense isn't elite. Aaron Rodgers' receivers are stupid. Some of those plays that were 3 and out, some of those downs that were 3 and outs by the Jets yesterday, that was not because the Broncos play elite defense. It was because Aaron Rodgers' receivers are idiots. So when I see an Eagles team that couldn't get to Baker Mayfield because he's getting the ball out of his hands too fast, and you have 16 missed tackles, and you see the camera pan over to Vic Fangio, where he throws his hands in the air and says, what the bleep was that? That's the microcosm of the game. Every Eagle fan, Vic Fangio, is asking that question. And the problem is that I have people come up to me and, shout out to Billy Schwein in the locker room. We had a lot of fun broadcasting the pregame show yesterday from Muscala's Beach House in Brigantine. But I got to tell you guys, somebody walks up to me and starts blaming Sirianni. And they're trying to tell me that I'm too much of a numbers guy and that I'm not using the eye test. Well, I'm here to tell you that I don't need numbers, even though I have 16 missed tackles and 445 total yards allowed. I don't need those numbers to tell me that Vic Fangio did a better job in week 3 than week 4 preparing these guys to play. And these guys played better in New Orleans, in one of the loudest arenas in all of football, than they did in 100 degrees of heat yesterday. I don't need numbers to tell me that there's a Vic Fangio Eagles defense problem when Bryce Huff can't even get a pass rush against the Buccaneers backup right tackle. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that the Buccaneers offense is double and triple teaming Jalen Carter, and they're basically manipulating and getting Milton Williams out of plays, and they're shutting down Jordan Davis. And then when Brandon Graham and Josh Sweat and Bryce Huff and these guys are getting single one-on-ones, more often than not, they're not getting to the quarterback because Baker Mayfield has so much time to throw. To me, if you can't see that the Eagles defense was ill-prepared, the coaches couldn't adjust mid-game, and Vic Fangio looks like he's lost at times calling that game yesterday. I don't know if you and I are watching the same game. And I'll get to the offense in a minute here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and a 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of CLC. We'll talk with Chris Franklin about all of this and more coming up in less than 10 minutes from now. I also want to hit on the offense because it's not all the defense. We were told that Kellen Moore, this is his offense, Nick Sirianni, that Kellen Moore is driving the car, that he's just in the passenger seat. Every time they panned the camera over Nick Sirianni in the game yesterday, he was standing there with his arms folded doing nothing. And I'm starting to wonder if Nick Sirianni just doesn't have a feel for how to be a good in-game head coach if he's not directly involved in the offense. Because when you don't run the ball in the first 6 plays of the game, and yet you keep getting scored on by the defense, why is there not a moment where Nick Sirianni walks over to Kellen Moore and says, dude, what are we doing? I have heard from everyone who has ever played football, whether it's on 97.3 ESPN, whether it's on podcasts, whether it's on different shows, everyone either played in the league or coached the league has always said, the first 20 plays are scripted. Who approved this script? If you are a movie outlet, right? You're a movie studio. Let's just use I don't know, Universal, okay? Universal Studios, which is owned now by NBC Comcast, right? Let's say someone has a pitch for the next Jurassic Park movie, okay? And somebody brings that script to the producers, to the directors, to the upper management of Universal Studios. And if there's something wrong in that script, I guarantee you somebody's saying, yeah, you got to change this. This doesn't add up. You got to change that. That doesn't add up. This is where I blame Sirianni. This is where I blame Jalen Hurts. This is where I blame quarterback coach Doug Nussmeier. Easy for me to say. Woo! His son plays for LSU, so you would think I would have his name down by now. Grant Nussmeier plays for LSU. He's our quarterback. You would think Jeff Stoutland would hear this game plan. You would think somebody in the meeting, when the script is brought to them, like you would to a production studio, and say, yeah, we're taking that out. We're adding this in. You would think somebody would have said, Vita Vea is one of the best run-stuffing D tackles in football. We shouldn't run into the arms of him. And maybe, just maybe, we should block him. Because either the script is wrong or opposing defenses have figured out Kellen Moore's game plan. Because he gained 410 total yards against the Packers, 365 against the Falcons, 460 against the Saints, and then a nice, quiet 227 against the Bucs. How do you go from that level of production to that much of a drop-off? Furthermore, were we not told by Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, Kellen Moore, Jason Kelsey talking about his podcast, Lane Johnson talking to Chris Long on the Chris Long Greenlight podcast. I've heard it from everyone all offseason. Well, the Eagles spent all offseason preparing Hurts for the blitz. Well, either the plan didn't work or Jalen Hurts is not listening. And whatever reason for that you want to point to, it's a problem. Because Hurts is still holding the ball. Hurts is still overthinking. Hurts is still scrambling when he doesn't have to. He's not stepping up in the pocket far enough. And at some point, if my two eyes watching the game can figure this out, you're telling me coaches who make millions of dollars, money that would change the lives of every person listening to the sound of my voice on 97.3 ESPN, and someone came to you and said, whoever you are, okay, let me find a text the text board here. Biz from Mavseekin. Biz, if someone came to you and said, we're going to give you $1 million, I'm sure Biz would be able to say, well, man, I got to go out there and do a good job. I got to, figure this out. I got to, earn this paycheck. Because I think part of the problem is the Eagles coaching staff thinks they're earning a paycheck, but in reality, they just look like they don't have a clue. Biz from Mavseekin, by the way, actually said at 609-403-0973. He says, I'm not sure Nick Sirianni's culture is working. The team looks too cool, unprepared, and definitely do not look hungry to win games. They may need a tougher guy with a different approach to motivate these guys. Biz, there's so much there because at some point, so here's the thing. I agree with you and I disagree with you. I agree with you that the team does not look like they're prepared enough and they do not look like they want it bad enough at times. I totally agree with that. But I don't know if changing the coach is even the answer at this point. Because at some point, these guys got to have a level of professional pride. Whether it's Biz in Absecon or Jeff in Ocean City or Dan in EHT or George in George in Galloway, all of you who listen to 97.3 ESPN, all of you and many more who have texted the station over the years, okay? Josh and Kate May, whoever you may be, all of you have had jobs where you have put in a lot of hours and you did not stop working until the job was done. And I just don't think the Eagles players have the right mentality. That's a personal decision. That's on the coach to be tougher on the guys. Because guess what? When Tom Brady left New England, players started zoning out and ignoring Bill Belichick. Bill Parcells, his shtick, wore people out. That's why he bounced from so many teams and so many organizations. Being the tough grinder coach to motivate guys, it has a shelf life. And at some point, the players have to have a level of professional pride. I don't think there's ever a point in time where you listening to Sound My Voice with 97.3 ESPN went to your job and said, you know what? I'm just going to mail it in today. I don't care. Because if you do, that's a you problem. That's not your manager's problem. That's not the owner of the business problem. That's not your boss's problem. That's a you problem. If you're mailing it in, if you're not trying hard enough, at some point, there's no amount of money. There's no amount of motivation. There's no amount of nothing that's going to get you going. And I'm telling you guys right now, Biz and Absecon, you are right about one thing. The look of indifference by the Eagles players on the sideline in that game yesterday was definitely concerning. But I'm not sure anyone is fixing that problem. Chris Franklin from NG Advanced Media will join me coming up next. Talk more about the Eagles' embarrassing loss and the lack of people having any answers for what happened yesterday as we go into what will be arguably the most miserable bye week for the Eagles since the 2020 NFL season. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by by First Bank of Seattle City.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card, good for use at Provenza Restaurant and Event Center on Wellington Avenue in Ventnor for just $25.
Get this great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
Seizethedeal.com.
Take 10 grand off MSRP, 0% for 72 months, 0 payments for 90 days, or 2 new Matt Blatt Kias for $222. You don't need a sports betting app. Get to Matt Blatt Kia and be a winner. You heard right. 10 grand off MSRP and 0% for 72 months, 0 down, or 0 payments for 90 days on every clearly marked EV in stock. Currently stuck in a loan or lease? We want to get you released. New 24 Kia Forte LXS, just $111 per month lease. Why not get 2 for $222?
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
With approved credit, 10 grand off customer cash and dealer discount. EV9, $38,900 per thousand through KMF. 24 months, $111 per month, 10,000 miles per year, $49.52. Not all will qualify. Offers can't be combined. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KMF. Rebates and incentives to dealer. Expires 9/30/24.
Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Progressive presents Renter's MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Emily Neal's 70-inch TV. Because after watching her second-grade students yell at each other for hours, there's nothing Emily enjoys more than watching super rich housewives also yell at each other. Why? Because those women are not her responsibility. And that's why her TV is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in New Jersey.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN. NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles losing to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 33-16 Sunday at Raymond James Stadium. They dropped their record to 2-2. Jalen Hurts was held to just 158 yards passing. He did have a touchdown pass to Paris Campbell. Saquon Barkley rushed for 84 yards. Philadelphia trailed 24-0 in the second quarter as Tampa Bay got 2 touchdown passes from Baker Mayfield. The Eagles will head into a bye week and will host the Cleveland Browns in Week 6. The Phillies wrapped up the regular season Sunday, beating the Washington Nationals 6-3. They finished 95-67 on top of the NL East and now head to the postseason as the number 2 seed in the National League. They'll wait to see who they'll play from the wild card round, which begins on Tuesday. NHL, the Flyers will face the New York Islanders tonight, continuing their preseason schedule. Philadelphia with 3 more exhibition games remaining before the regular season opener. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-457-6060. That's 1-800-457-6060. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-457-6060. That's 1-800-457-6060.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. This storm system is running out of gas. You saw that a little bit today. We still have thick clouds and sporadic light showers in the forecast, but brighter, drier weather is just around the corner. Lots of clouds tonight with patchy fog possible, low 62. Tomorrow, cloudy and cool with a few showers around, high of 70. Wednesday's transition day, mostly to partly cloudy, high 71. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
No longer qualify for New Jersey Family Care? You may be eligible for quality, affordable health plans through Get Covered New Jersey that cover doctor visits, prescriptions, and more. 9 in 10 enrolling qualify for financial help. Learn more at getcovered.nj.gov.
This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. And the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
First of all, I think the bye week probably is a good time for these guys. Philly, maybe they'll have a chance to get these receivers back and Lane Johnson and get some of their key players back on offense. It's a challenge. Look, they've lost 10 out of the last 13 games. So when you sit there and say, well, they're one of the best teams in the league, I don't know, being 3-10, that's kind of a stretch if you look at what's happened recently. But they do have a lot of good players, and they have a good team. I'm not saying they're not a good team. I'm just saying they haven't done very well lately.
That was head coach Bill Belichick, who is obviously, for some people, the fan base's favorite person to point to of who could replace Nick Sirianni. That was said on the Pat McAfee show today. Yes, the Eagles have lost a lot of games over the last several months, if you take from last year, this year. So who on earth are the Eagles? Yesterday, no one could tell the identity of the team was. Today, Nick Sirianni, I think he just made up an identity for the team. Chris Franklin covers the Eagles, Giants, and Jets for NJ Advanced Media. He joins me right now on 97.3 ESPN. Chris, I hope you've recovered from Nick Sirianni word salad earlier.
That was a lot. I mean, he's trying to go and say, I got what he was saying, but then it started going to things. And it's weird because he says they have an identity. Some of the players, like in Jalen, especially like last night, Richard was trying to figure the identity out. It looks like yesterday's loss. A little thing, things aren't consistent. Things are disjointed. Yeah, and we're here.
A lot of people, Chris, would say they have the talent, right? A lot of people would say the Eagles have the talent to be a great team. And they've had these like flashes, these moments, right? Where they look like the team that we thought they could be. The defense during the Saints game, for example, the offense against the Packers, right? Saquon Barkley has multiple games now where he has had moments where you're like, there's that man. But overall, it's been inconsistent. So how much of this realistically is on the players? How much is realistically on the coaches?
It's a little bit of both. This team really should be 3-1 when you look at it. Because when you look at that Falcons game, if Sirianni didn't make the decisions he made, I think they win that game. And then I just think Buccaneers have their numbers, so they probably would have lost this no matter what. But you look at the coaching decisions, and these guys are in the right positions to begin with. You look at the ways that Vic Fangio, and I thought I was on board with, if you're going to hire the guy that created the system and can make the tweaks that are necessary to do it. We haven't seen them yet, and teams are just gashing them left and right, especially with no pass rush. Offensively, you look at this, you're wondering, I know you can say like, oh, well, they try to get Saquon Barkley the ball involved, but 10 touches overall is not going to cut it, even if you're behind, because to me, he was your second best receiver that was available yesterday behind tight Dallas Goedert. And you just look at the usage in that one, and you got drop passes, you got uncalled for penalties, and it's adding up together. This is what you get, 2-2, which is a mediocre team, which the team is right now.
Chris, you just mentioned how the Bucs have their number. And I asked this question before you came on, which is, we heard all offseason, Nick Sirianni, Kellen Moore, Jalen Hurts, Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, even people who cover the team, like quote unquote cover, I should say, Jason Kelsey. Like I heard everybody say the Eagles have been preparing for the blitz all offseason. Well, you would think, Chris, as you said, the Bucs have their number, that they would be more prepared for what happened yesterday, and they certainly did not look like it.
Not at all. And the one thing I think that they should have done is run the ball. I know you say, oh, they should have run the ball. I think they should have. You would Vita Vea in the middle of that defensive line because the Bucs did what the Eagles should have done. Should have tried to wear out that Buccaneers defense, especially you can get gashed them late, especially with all that heat and everybody was having issues with that. They would have done all right. Well, I'll give them some slack for not having Smith, and I think even another record without Johnson, but I think they could have done okay and gone by had they had Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. I'll give them that a little bit. But to the fact that knowing that you didn't have them and you're still running these routes for guys who have trouble getting separation, the only guy who really has some speed on that team is John Ross, and he was just elevated from the practice squad after they signed him off from sitting at home. So there's a lot of things you're looking at, and you're just like, okay, they should have made adjustments for those guys not there, and this is what the result that you get. So, yeah, in terms of all this stuff, I try to put a blame on it. I put 60-40 coaches players. I really do.
You know, you mentioned the 60-40 split because to me, it's coaches, like you said. I know, listen, I had people trying to tell me yesterday that this is all Sirianni's fault, but, you know, watching on the television, Chris, I can clearly see Vic Fangio throwing his arms up in the air and saying, what the bleep was that? Well, Vic, you're the one calling the plays. Like you should know these players, you know? So to me, I understand people are frustrated with Sirianni, but at some point we got to blame Fangio and Moore for one, their plan coming into the game, Chris, and two, the lack of adjustments during the game.
It's a trickle-down effect for sure. For the life of me, I still don't know if you are getting gashed left and right, and Baker Mayfield is able. You're not getting a pass rush. Why not try to roll up your cornerbacks? I know it goes against the so-called Fangio thinking and schemes because you want your corners to go look out, but something's off, and you're not letting them get not disrupting their timing routes. Quinion Mitchell has proven that he can recover from that. If he gets beat at the line, he's proven he can recover. Why not let him go try to reroute these guys and make Baker Mayfield hold the ball for an extra second or two, and maybe, just maybe, we can't say the edge rushers because besides Brandon Graham, maybe Josh Sweat because they're struggling right now. So probably maybe a defensive tackle goes ahead and brings Mayfield down. Who knows? But stuff like that. And then you have, when you look at Kellen Moore, it's been throw. And then it didn't take till the second half where it's like, maybe we should run Saquon Barkley a little bit more. And what happens? He rips off that long run. It's stuff like that. It's like you want to see these adjustments made a lot earlier instead of just waiting for halftime going, okay, we can regroup now. This is what you guys, these assistants, this is what you have Vic Fangio, who has this long, extensive history with, he's supposed to be able to do quickly. This is what Kellen Moore, who we've constantly heard is supposed to be a head coach and potentially in the future take this job or what have you if they decide to go next. I've seen that float around. I was like, I don't know about that. He's interviewed twice. But guys like that, he didn't make the adjustments too. So it's a whole trickle down thing, and he goes down to the assistant coaches too. So yeah, it's not just Nick. He's going to. Yeah, he deserves all this because he's going to go to the head coach. Well, not to say he is the head coach, but it all falls on him. I didn't mean that came out wrong. So yeah, that definitely came out wrong. But he's a head coach. This responsibility falls on him. He's got to be the guys to get not only the players, but his coaches thinking of a good play and be a step. How many times do we hear during training camp? You put these guys through situations and going through all this stuff. All that situational preparedness has not worked. Mainly for 4 games, even in 2 games they won.
Talking with Chris Franklin from NJ Advanced Media here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig live in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios. Chris, you mentioned about how it trickles down, and I'm just trying to decipher as well how you mentioned how they didn't run the ball early enough. And when they did run the ball, they sometimes ran it right at Vita Vea, which made no sense to me. It's like, people always talk about, and you've talked to numerous players over the years, Chris, about how players coaches tell you, we have a script, right? We have the first 20 plays scripted. Well, if you're a movie studio, right, And I bring in the script to the executive producers and the director and the studio executives. And there's something they don't like in the script. They're going to say, take that out, put that in. I just want to know, how did Kellen Moore bring this script to Jalen Hurts and Doug Nussmeier and Nick Sirianni and Jeff Stoutland? And they all were like, yeah, that's a good idea. Like, how does that happen?
Sounds like it's a script from DC or Warner Brothers, because all the time they rewrite everything's getting canceled. It pretty much sounds like he came from that thing. In terms of that, you don't know. You can even run, and even with the adjustments and the things like the check what means. You can install that stuff in here. I'm not oversimplifying it, but just have him go to the line. You see where Vea is going. You call the audible, call kill, whatever. You run the opposite way. It's like, I'm not going to, I know you can't do that the whole entire game, but for the most part, I'm not going to run into a brick wall all the time and just expect them to finally get through. You can't do that. And it was limited. And once again, they were limited by the receivers. I understand that as well, too. But you could have moved Barkley around and tried to get him as well, to get him more involved. You could have put him in the slot a little bit more. I think he's a decent route runner. You can get him out, especially him going against a safety. I'll take that matchup. Him going as a linebacker, I'll definitely take that matchup. Him going as a corner, if he catches it, corners, we know that they make business decisions all the time. Yeah, we're taking that. I'd really like to see a little bit more creativity in terms of his game plan, and we didn't get that.
You mentioned the players. I did want to ask you about that because, I think most people have seen the tweets by Darius Slay, the tweets by Isaiah Rodgers, and there have been other people who have, kind of suggested the same, which is, hey, we had a bad day. We had a bad day at our job. We didn't have a good day. And I think that it would be more acceptable for the fans to hear that if the players didn't play so consistently bad. You know what I mean? And so for you, measuring the players on this team, how do we differentiate between the guys trying to say, look, I had a bad day at work versus the average person who says, dude, you didn't have a bad day at work. You had the worst day at work.
I understand when it comes to like, especially when you look at, especially the positions they play too. It's one of those things where you need to forget quickly and try to wash it. So I can see them going out there on social media and putting that out there. The problem is, it doesn't help it's the bye week, so that you have the next 2 weeks to do that. And that's why I worry. I hope these guys aren't, I hope they're more worried about looking at the film and the video or getting away trying to watch this stuff instead of just being on social media the whole entire time, because it's just going to be a downward trend that happens, and getting involved, somebody's eventually going to say something worse, and that's the last thing this team needs right now. So it's a balancing act. I'd rather them put that out there and just probably install that app a bunch of those apps all completely. But I think it's a time, this is the way we're looking at this, the modern athlete to begin with as a whole, because a lot of these guys are going to go in there. You can't, I think we're going the days are like just saying, you know what, I'm turning everything off. I'm just going to go here or there and not going to do it and read the paper. These guys read everything. Like everybody reads anything. It's the worst secret ever. It's like, we block everything out. Meanwhile, there may be times where you see ESPN on TV or whatever. It's like, come on, guys, we know what's going on.
Chris,
so, yeah.
I got to tell you really quick. There's only one person I've ever believed when they said that they block everything out, and it's legitimately Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
I mean, he literally talks like somebody who literally has never heard anyone else talk to him.
And you know what the thing is? That is, I can honestly say that is legit true. Like, like there's times when he hears something, he's like, and you know how people play the whole like, oh, I didn't know that, and then you read the eyes like, oh, come on now, this is a bad poker face. Like he legit blocks everything out or doesn't know anything. It's not till somebody, he may be brief before we come in, like he comes in and talks to us, where it's like, oh, okay. Somebody might find out stuff like that. So yeah, but they need to take. I think a lot of the guys have to take that approach in order to move through our season, because it's vicious out here. Trolls are vicious. I ain't gonna lie, trolls are vicious. You get it, I get it.
Oh yeah.
Trolls are vicious. So yeah, you gotta block it out, especially that playing in the league and playing that position as well too.
I mean, listen, it's a whole conversation. I mean, I'm telling you, Chris, if I ever was in a position to talk to a group of young athletes, I already have a prepared speech about the understanding of how you empower what feeds your mind. because I see so many of these people on social media feeding the trolls, giving into them, empowering their toxicity on people's lives. And it's like, I especially with some of these athletes today, I mean, they just don't get it, man. Like, they don't understand that it doesn't matter who's tweeting at you or messaging you or DMing you. Just sometimes you just got to put the phone down and let it go.
You really do. Although I think Isaiah Rodgers did give a great idea for a series where they track down where the actual names behind the people who troll them, and then he actually shows up to their jobs and starts either like critiquing them and start doing like they're from the stands. That would be something I would love to watch. It was in the show The League that they did a scene like that as well too in the courtroom. I would love to see that happen for once. Just track the person down and go, "Hey, you didn't mow that right," or "Hey, you're teaching them the wrong way. What's going on?" Starts going on. That would be great. I'd watch that.
You know what? But you got to do it this way. You got to, if you're going to do that, and I would tell Isaiah Rodgers, you got to get Chris Hansen. Get Chris Hansen to show up to people's houses like, "Hi, I'm Chris Hansen, from NBC, and be like, this is Isaiah Rodgers. So we want to talk to you about your latest tweet," and then show them the tweet, like a screenshot and everything. And like have the whole camera crew come in the house, be like, "Let's take a look around the house,"
Have a seat over here, please. Therefore, what were you tweeting? You stink. Blah, blah, blah. I didn't know what happened. I don't know. You're free to leave at any time. Oh, that would be great to watch. That would be great.
That's the show I would sign up for. If it's like a Chris Hansen style going with athletes to confront trolls. That's what I would watch.
Is this your username? Bleep, 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 bleep. This would be great to no, bring it. Executive produce it and send it to NBC. They still have his contact.
Chris, but back on the tracks before I let you go, about Jalen Hurts. I did want to touch on this. I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with the guy because, listen, I've watched him at every level of football, and I feel like I've turned into a Jalen Hurts apologist because I feel like some of the takes on him are so extreme. To me, I always tell people, Chris, this is my explanation on Hurts, and you tell me what you think of it. I always tell people I am the world's foremost expert as the greatest overthinker. And as the world's foremost overthinker, I can tell when someone's overthinking. Hurts has so much overthinking, you almost see the steam coming out of his helmet. It's almost like it's over processing. And it's like, I don't know if he needs to see a shrink. I don't need to see what he needs to talk to. I don't know what he needs to do, but someone's got in his life got to get a hold of him and be like, "Dude, you're trying to do too much."
Yeah, I can see that. I can see it also being something where, like, in along similar veins, where he doesn't. If it's not enough separation to throw it down, it's almost like McNabb in a way, where if it wasn't enough separation, he didn't want to throw the interception. Which in terms he held it more, looking around, Lisa strip sacks, or then he thinks he sees it and then he throws it, and then next thing you know, it's picked off that way in a way. So it's something. It's two. I think it's the best way for him is twofold. One, he's just got to. It slows you down running. I know it's come quality. You just got to keep two hands around the ball in the pocket at all times. You just have to, because the way is. I think he's thinking too much and start looking at that he loses the internal clock, and the next thing you know, bam, strip sack. And he's diving on the trying to find the football, or he lost it. Me it's a way of just letting him get back to his flow. I want to see the rollouts. I want to see roll him out of the pocket. He seems comfortable rolling out way too, and you can dictate which way you run. If you want to roll to the right, okay, roll the pocket to the right. You try to throw it, give him those quick throws. It doesn't necessarily have to come off the RPO every time, but just give him the quick throws. Line Barkley up in a pistol. Make teams still respect it, that they can still run behind it, like still have to honor a run. Just let him go to 3-step drops and get a slant, and then go up tempo because he seems more comfortable. Because it's almost like he doesn't have to think; you just go up to the line, call a play, quickly look at it, and just get the ball out. So I think those are two things you can help him to cut down those turnovers, and then after that, start to rebuild upon that. I think that's the best way you can go about it with him.
He's Chris Franklin. Give him a follow on the Twitter X platform at CFranklin News. Of course, he covers the Eagles as well as the NFL for NJ.com. They joined us right here on 97.3 ESPN. Chris, appreciate you jumping on today.
No problem. Thanks, man. You have a good one now.
We'll get back to tech sport coming up next. 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night on 97.3 ESPN.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. with Unsportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN with Evan Cohen, Super Bowl champion Chris Canty, and Michelle Small. Can't wake up without it. Brought to you by the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.
I'm Mike Mackler. At Goldenberg Mackler, we represent you, not the insurance companies. When seriously injured in any type of accident, call us. We'll speak with you for free and fight to get you the money you deserve. When injured, make the right call to Goldenberg Mackler.
For the best lawyer, call Goldenberg Mackler with 4 convenient locations to better serve you. Atlantic City, Northfield, Rio Grande, and Vineland. Call us at 609-344-7131.
Shop Macy's VIP sale going on now. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 30% off the latest fall trends from designers that rarely go on sale. And save 15% off skincare, makeup, fragrances, and more. Plus, shop fall specials for even more great deals on top brands at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Hey, if you have ugly yellow toe fungus, you got to hear about the secret 2-minute trick that I found for my husband. It works from both the inside and the outside. Thousands of people are using it to get rid of their toe fungus. You can check it out at crystalflesh.com. Jake started off with a small spot on his big toe and then it spread and got really bad. His toes were nasty. It was so embarrassing. He was afraid to take his socks off. He hid his yellow and crumbly toes from everyone. He tried everything to get rid of it. Nothing helped. And then we found crystalflesh.com. It was the only thing that worked. In just a few weeks, his toes looked amazing. He's now walking around barefoot again. You guys need to try this. I'm telling you, this stuff is different. It's not sold in stores, but go check it out at crystalflesh.com. They'll even let you try it risk-free so you have nothing to lose. But whatever you do, don't let it get worse. You don't have to live with this anymore. Go check it out now. Just click over to crystalflesh.com.
What's better than 1 win? 3 wins. With Straight Savings, you keep your own phone, get 1 line for only $25 a month with real unlimited data, and get rewarded with a $200 phone credit after 12 months. It's a win-win-win. Head to Walmart or visit straighttalk.com today. Switch to Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Straight Savings Plan enrollment requires compatible unlocked device and new line of service. Bonus device credit requires 12 months of active service. Offer ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. Taxes and fees apply. For network management practices, see Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
It's common knowledge that after age 30, our metabolism changes. We have less energy and gain weight easier. There's a way to feel better, not in years or months, but sometimes in just days.
I'm Chuck Norris. I tried everything. Working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick. Morning Kick is a revolutionary new formula that combines all my favorite supplements into one daily drink.
Morning Kick has probiotics to help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and powerful anti-aging supplements. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, and helps manage stress.
I look and feel better than I have in years.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com, use code SUPPORT or text SUPPORT to 511-511 and claim 40% off. roundhouseprovisions.com, code SUPPORT.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee. You could be feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text SUPPORT to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
The holidays are coming, and Lowe's is here to help you get ready. Right now, get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save an additional $75 on select cooking appliances, $899 or more. And get even more of an interior refresh with up to 40% off select vanities and free delivery. Because Lowe's knows holiday hosting. Valid through 10/16. While supplies last. Selection varies by location. Appliance savings vary based on purchase amount. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for details.
Small business owners, we know finishing your to-do list can feel like rowing upstream, but it's a river, a whitewater river, and the only paddles you have are pool noodles. Then when a new to-do pops up, you're like, nope, I'm already rowing upstream with these pool noodle paddles. At Progressive, we don't want to make your day any harder. That's why we make it easy to get personalized discounts with a commercial auto insurance quote online, so your to-do list is smooth sailing. See if you can save on commercial auto insurance in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverages and discounts not available in all states and subject to policy terms and underwriting.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Wrap up your workday with the all-new Chickies and Pete's Happy Hour with unbeatable specials weekdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Enjoy half-price orders of Chickies medium tender wings, one of our tasty and delicious pizzas, or an order of mouth-watering hot, cold, or fried shrimp. Plus $3 domestic bottled beers, $5 Tito's, and $6 seltzers. It's the all-new Happy Hour, weekdays 4 to 6 p.m., only at Chickies and Pete's. Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Now, for a limited time, it's buy one, get one free snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday. Buy one, get one free, and enjoy the sweet, delicate flavor of snowy white crab meat. Pair it with one of our handcrafted cocktails like the Stoli Vanilla Creamsicle or the Bourbon Peach Sweet Tea. Top it off with Chicky and Pete's world famous crab fries. Buy one, get one free snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday for a limited time. Restrictions apply only at Chickies and Pete's.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
You know, I mentioned earlier in the hour here on 97.3 ESPN about how the analysis on television is not the quality that it used to be. And, you know, I observed, at least yesterday, and it's not a universal truth, okay? I think there's a lot of good people who do work in the media who do a good job when it comes to analysis. But I think one of the problems we're running into is that sports fans are being they're being deserved because that Fox set at halftime had some of the analysis was practically useless. Gronkowski is there because his name is Rob Gronkowski. Michael Strahan is there because he's got a great personality. Terry Bradshaw is there and Jimmy Johnson are there because they've just been there for a really long time. No one on that set gave you any explanation what happened in the first half of the Eagles game. And I feel bad for everyone watching the game because if you're someone who doesn't have the time in your day like I do, where this is my job, this is my life. Like I'm consuming sports. I'm rewatching the game. I'm listening to different shows and podcasts and reading articles and looking up numbers. And, you know, you guys don't have the time always to do all that. So sometimes, you just want somebody to give you a straight answer. And I just sometimes wonder if the media today, are these guys even capable of doing that? I mean, no offense to Tom Brady, but he wasn't giving you like elite analysis during that game. I think Tom is just way too stiff. I think Tom's got to let loose a little more because he lets loose on Baker Mayfield, but he can't let loose on the Eagles. Like, I don't know. It was a very awkward game and broadcast to watch yesterday. It's a shame that you're going to get better analysis from the Fox B and C team with a Greg Olsen or a Daryl Moose Johnson than you are going to get from Tom Brady of all people. Tom from the Village chimes in at 609-403-0973. Says the only thing I was happy about was the game was over at the end of the first quarter. I was nursing a bachelor party hangover, so I just turned it off and went back to sleep. The last thing I needed was to feel worse than I already did watching the game. That's Tom from the Villas. I can't say you're wrong, Tom. We all felt pretty lousy after that game. An anonymous texter says, it's time for a coaching staff belly check, or is it time to bring in Belichick? That's from an anonymous texter. Here's the problem with the Belichick stuff. Number one, I don't know if Belichick even wants to coach anymore. I'm going to get the fun that he's having doing McAfee's show and doing Inside the NFL and doing that podcast that he does. It's like, I think that guy is starting to enjoy this non-coaching stuff way more. That's my first concern. My second concern is We saw how in New England, everyone started checking out on that guy. His brand of coaching, his brand of football, it wears on people, okay? And, you look at what happened to him in Cleveland, right? You look at what happened to Bill Parcells, who he's from in multiple places. The only way Belichick can come back and be a successful coach is if he learns from all these other coaches that there's a balancing act between being the dictator of the football team and being a leader of a football team, because it's not the same. And I think part of the problem is, if you are going to run an organization like a dictator, you're going to have poor communication skills. You're not going to be able to relate to the people under you. And at some point, you need people to be inspired to want to play for you. I look at Nick Sirianni's face today during his press conference that we aired during Mike Gill's show on the Sports Bash here on 97.3 ESPN. Nick Sirianni looks like he's been through it. He looks like he is not in a good place mentally. And I'm just saying, I don't know if someone like Belichick, if he is really prepared to face the stress that comes with this job again. So I'm telling you right now, Sirianni doesn't look like he is made for this at all. I think Sirianni, if he doesn't come out of this break winning the next 2 games of the season against the Browns and the Giants, I think a lot of people who are calling for Sirianni to be fired are going to be justified in their calls. Not because Sirianni should be fired, but because of the fact that the optics are looking worse and worse as we go along. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night. I'll catch you tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN.
Hey, Jen, I just stopped in to say hello, and oh my goodness, look how busy it is in here. How do you get all these customers?
Yeah, this month has been a record breaker for us. For a long time, we had decent business coming in from word of mouth, but we weren't growing. Lately, though, a lot of new folks have been finding us online, and that's made all the difference.
That's terrific, man. I wish I could figure out how to do that for my shop, but I have no idea where to start.
Just do what I did. It's not as hard as you think. Go to mylocalcustomers.com to see exactly how many searches there are for businesses like yours. If you see that there are a good number of clients searching in our area, you'll also get some suggestions for the best way to get their attention.
Do you think there are a lot of people searching for my business?
There's only one way to find out. Go to mylocalcustomers.com. It's quick, easy, and free.
Go to mylocalcustomers.com for a free local customer analysis that will show you how many customers are searching online for your type of business. It's quick, easy, and free. Visit mylocalcustomers.com. That's mylocalcustomers.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive,